What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90, and thank you very much for 8,000 subscribers. That is absolutely insane. To hit 8,000 subscribers right before March begins, the madness that is March with the FA Cup. Today, we're going to be covering the FA Cup 5th round, the first video on the FA Cup for this year. We've got the Europa League round of 16 coming to the channel. Quite a sore subject for us Arsenal fans at the moment. We have Champions League and Premier League as well. It's all going to be crazy, multiple uploads a week. So definitely, if you aren't subscribed, join the other 8,000 people that have subscribed to the Full 90. Leave your predictions down in the comments for how you think the 5th round of the FA Cup is going to go. And also answer me this: who do you think is going to win the FA Cup? I mean, obviously, Manchester City, very strong contender. Liverpool, potentially, depending on the team they put out. But we are going to discuss that in this video today. So drop a like if you're excited for the FA Cup fixtures. Kicking it off, Monday Night Football, we do have Portsmouth up against Arsenal. Now, this is going to be very, very tough. This whole video is going to be quite hard to predict because there's no saying what teams, the Premier League teams perhaps, are going to put out. But Arsenal, I have no reason to believe that they're going to be anything other than full strength. They have the Premier League off for this FA Cup fixture, and I don't think they even have the weekend off for the FA Cup. I think they have this fixture because they don't play Man City at the weekend in the Premier League because Man City have the Carabao Cup final. So Arsenal are rested. The last game they played before this game was their crash out of the Europa League against Olympiacos. Portsmouth against Arsenal. Portsmouth League 1, obviously fallen from grace a little bit in recent years. I still think Portsmouth are going to grab a couple of goals. I think FA Cup, there's going to be goals all over the place, especially against the Premier League teams, apart from, Manchester City later on. We'll get into that. But I think this is going to be a very, very high-scoring game. Arsenal recently beat Everton 3-2. I'm going to go for Arsenal to win again 3-2. I think Arsenal, they've got to get through the FA Cup, and if they can win it, that books them a spot in the Europa League, because I don't know if Manchester City get banned from Europe, and then if other teams above Arsenal in the league, win the Europa League or win the Cup or something like that. I don't know how low down the Premier League, the Europa League is going to go, but this is certainly a route for them. I do think Arsenal will finish in the Europa League spots in the league anyway, because they have a pretty good run in, but I'm going to go for Arsenal to make it past Portsmouth in this round in a high-scoring game, 3-2 to the Gunners. Now, the next game is, of course, Chelsea up against Liverpool, and this is going to be a very, very tough one to predict because there's no saying what Liverpool are going to do, because in the early stages of the FA Cup, they played a very, very young squad, a very inexperienced squad in the first team, and they've still made it to this stage of the tournament. But now they've got the Champions League to focus on, yes, but they've had their first leg with Atletico Madrid, and the second leg isn't for another week or two. So they don't need to worry about that. They're doing fine in the Premier League. Obviously, they've won the league and all that. So they can now afford to play some of their first team players in the FA Cup if they are that way inclined. If they do want to go for that treble, the FA Cup, the Champions League, and the Premier League, it's still on for them. So they might strengthen up a little bit. But I don't know if they will. I really don't know if they're... Maybe they will just come out with a top-class lineup in the FA Cup and start really focusing on that treble. But I don't know. I think because it's the FA Cup and they got this far with the youngsters, they'll certainly include a few of them. And I think Chelsea, however, who have basically crashed out of the Champions League thanks to getting absolutely demolished by Bayern Munich, and they're doing all right in the league, they'll keep that ticking over. I think they're going to win this game. I think Chelsea are going to knock Liverpool out the FA Cup in the 5th round at Stamford Bridge. I think they're going to win this one 2-1. Again, this prediction, it is kind of reliant on the lineups that they use, and I don't know the lineups they're going to use. I don't know the kind of teams they could play. Liverpool could play the same team that beat Shrewsbury in the previous round, or Shrewsbury, however you want to pronounce it, and I think Chelsea would win, because I think Chelsea will be more inclined to put a slightly stronger team, as they have done throughout the entire tournament. But you never know with this one. I'm going to go for a Chelsea win, 2-1. The next game is Reading up against Sheffield United. Now, Sheffield United, they tend to have quite low-scoring games. They knocked out Millwall in the previous round, 2-0 away from home. I'm not going to waste any time. I think Sheffield United are going to win this one 2-0 away from home again, because Sheffield United and other lower-tier Premier League teams, they have no reason to not put out a full-strength team, because this is their best realistic chance at some silverware, because it's not going to come from the league, it's not going to come from a European competition. Sheffield United, although we might see them in action in the Champions League next year, I'm going to go for Sheffield United to knock out Reading 2-0. Now, the next game is going to be a very, very interesting one. Future Premier League team, I'm going to say it now. It looks like West Brom are nailed on to win the championship, but even if they don't win it, they should be promoted. West Brom up against Newcastle. Now, I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I think they will be quite evenly matched. And Newcastle, they've made it really tough for themselves getting to this stage, having to go to extra time in the previous round, winning in extra time. Alan Saint-Maximin scoring that goal. Newcastle have not looked that good in the FA Cup, but they've almost profited from the fact that on paper and overall they are better teams than the teams they've come up against, and they do eventually get through. I think this is going to be a very, very tough game. West Brom are going to be well up for it. I was contemplating going for a West Brom win. You know what? I'm going to totally change my prediction. I was originally going to go for a 1-1 draw between the two teams, and I am. And I think so. I think it's going to end 1-1 and go to extra time. I was going to say Newcastle to win 2-1 in extra time, similar to how they did in the last round with Alan Saint-Maximin scoring the goal. Why not push the boat out? Let's go with 1-1 full time and then West Brom to win it 2-1 after extra time. So no penalties, West Brom getting the winner in extra time. What a prediction that would be if that came to fruition. The next game is Leicester up against Birmingham. Now, Birmingham, they're actually in pretty good form in the Championship as of late, and Leicester, not so much. You know, they're not in the best form in the league, but they were so far ahead the pack and the chasing pack for the top four that they still look the favourites behind Man City and Liverpool to get into the top four, of course. I think Leicester are going to win this game. It's at the King Power Stadium. Like I said, they haven't had the best of fortune lately. At the time of recording, they play Norwich tonight, and I am predicting them to get back to winning ways there. And although Birmingham are on good form in the Championship, I think Leicester will be a bit too strong. And again, Leicester probably see this, particularly for this season. I think this is their only chance at silverware because they're not in a European competition. They're not going to win the Premier League. This is their last chance, the FA Cup, and they will be a bit sore after exiting the Carabao Cup as well. So I'm going to go for Leicester to beat Birmingham in this fixture, 3-1. Now, the next fixture, Sheffield Wednesday up against Manchester City. Man City dispatching of Fulham 4-0 in the previous round, largely thanks to a red card, of course. I think this is going to be another easy win for Manchester City, and it's not like they're going to, I don't know, a League 2 stadium where the ground is going to be terrible and it's going to maybe make them play a bit worse. Sheffield Wednesday, pretty big club, and Man City are going to go there, and I'm going to say that they will win this one 4-0 to see them cruise on to the next round of the FA Cup. A bit of an unfortunate draw for Sheffield Wednesday, but I'm sure they'll enjoy welcoming the citizens regardless. The next game, Tottenham versus Norwich. This could be a banana skin. 1, Tottenham are in pretty terrible form. 2, was it in the Premier League? Tottenham and Norwich drew 2-2. I'm not entirely sure. It was a very close game. Let me look it up. Yeah, it was 2-2, the one I was thinking about. So they did play each other. In the last time they played each other in January, it was 2-1 to Tottenham. And then when they played at Carrow Road, it was 2-2. So the last two games between them have been high scoring. And I do think Norwich will get on the score sheet. Again, like I said with Sheffield United, same goes for Norwich, Newcastle, all these teams in the Premier League. This is their only chance to get some silverware. Norwich look destined for the Championship in the next season. So they're going to try their best to get something from Tottenham here. And Tottenham aren't in the best form. So it could definitely happen. So I think both teams are definitely going to score in this fixture. But I think despite Tottenham's woeful form lately, or, you know, perhaps their style of play hasn't been too easy on the eye, Mourinho's look a little bit outdated, I still think Tottenham are going to win and progress, but I think it's going to be a close game. Perhaps Norwich take the lead at Tottenham's new stadium, and that just kind of bucks Tottenham's ideas up, and Tottenham then come from behind, and I'm going to say that Tottenham win this one 2-1. Now, the next fixture, Wayne Rooney's derby. Welcome Manchester United. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last time Man United and Derby played was in the Carabao Cup, and it was when Derby knocked them out on penalties back when Frank Lampard was manager. And then obviously, if you guys know Mark Goldbridge, big personality, runs the United Stand. That's actually how I found his channel, and I've followed him since on his personal channel as well. I like him as a guy. I think he's funny. He had the Phil Jones pink boots moment. You guys must know what I'm talking about. The last time that Derby and Manchester United met. I think this is going to be a very exciting game. Obviously, the fact that Wayne Rooney now plays for Derby is just going to... It's going to make it that bit sweeter. There's that fairy tale story. Imagine Wayne Rooney's the one to just run the dagger through Manchester United, but I do not think it's going to happen. Man United have been playing very well lately. At the time of recording, they have just come off of a 5-0 win against Club Brugge, but obviously that was changed a little bit by a red card. But Man United, definitely the better team. They're looking pretty decent. Their midfield is finally flowing. McTominay's back. Bruno Fernandes is playing really, really well, and considering the high expectations that people put on him, I think he's dealt with it very, very well, and he's not scoring tons of goals. I think he's scored a couple of penalties and had a few assists. It's more about what he does, what he does off the ball as well as on the ball, and just makes the whole team around him better, and that's what top-class midfielders do. Fred is looking good. I've always rated Fred. I think he's had it pretty rough, and I think Man United are going to get the win against Derby. I'm going to give Derby a goal. Dare I say Wayne Rooney? I don't know, but I'm going to go for Manchester United to win this one 3-1. So that would mean going through to the quarterfinals would be Arsenal, Chelsea, Sheffield United, West Brom, Leicester, Manchester City, Tottenham, and Manchester United. So that's the big 6. Sheffield United, so you could put them at 7th. Oh, and Leicester. And Leicester. Wait, who am I missing from the big 6? Liverpool. Bun Liverpool. It's the top 5 without Liverpool. Then Leicester, who essentially are more a part of the big 6 than all the others. Sheffield United, even they could possibly be considered that. And, yeah, West Bromwich Albion. So, yes, that's going to do it for my FA Cup 5th round predictions video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like on it, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss another video. Join the other 8,000 people that have done so. We're going to try and reach 10,000 subscribers before Season 3 of the Full 90 in August, I suppose. So, yeah, that's going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.